Today I will be presenting my topic, spreading of Enlightenment ideas, focused on Solon's, Diderot, and Encyclopedia. So what was the Enlightenment? The Enlightenment was a movement during the 16th to 17th century that affected the intellectual, cultural, social, and philosophical sprawl against Germany, England, France, and other parts of Europe such as Italy. It was one of the most important eras as it evolutionized Western Europe, and the Dramatic Revolution swept away the ideals of the medieval worldview, which had actually already kind of been swept away, I guess, during the Renaissance period. However, they still had things during the Renaissance, like that the church had all the power, and this era was the one that really changed that and took that away. And it wasn't so much the theory of discovery, because that was the Renaissance. This was the theory of taking that information and spreading it and teaching it to others. And the new theories and ways of thinking affected how we think, act, and advance today. And on the right here, there's a photo of a salon or a meeting, which I'll talk about later what that was, but you can just see there. How does my theme relate to the Enlightenment? My theme was the spreading of the Enlightenment ideas and was especially focused on the aspects in regards to salons, Diderot, and the Encyclopedia. Salons were a type of formal meetings or assemblies. Diderot was a famous Enlightenment thinker, and the Encyclopedia was one of his famous works that was kind of the base for the changes that he caused. And each one of these topics had a connection with the revolution and how the ideas affected our modern day thinking. And each one kind of ties in together with spreading the ideas, because, like I said, the Renaissance period kind of had new discoveries, and then the Enlightenment thinkers took those discoveries, theorized them, and then shared them with others. Who was my Enlightenment thinker? My Enlightenment thinker was Denis Diderot. He was a French man who was born October 5th, 1713 in Lens. He died July 30th, 1784 in Paris. He was a philosopher, writer, and an art critic. He created the 20-volume encyclopedia, one of his most famous works, Jacques the Fatalist, Rameau's Nephew, and D'Alembert Dream. And because they were only found after his death, his works were only evaluated after life. And although he was born during the Enlightenment era, so you would have thought that maybe it would make more sense that his works were already found during that time, because that was the time that people were spread these ideas and all that. But it was actually only published and found after he died. So they only spread like after he was alive. And here on the right is a photo of a painting of Denis Diderot, and yeah, the encyclopedia. Oh wait. And he had many series of events during his life, but in summary, basically what happened to him was when he was 10, after he was born, 10 years later, he entered a Jesuit school in his birth town of Langres, France. In 1729, he moved to Paris and entered a college. After college, after he graduated, he worked at a lawyer's office for about a year. And then after that, he went on to work various jobs, and his father stopped supporting him. Then during this time, he met many important figures such as Rousseau, D'Alembert, which was one of his works were about him, and Condillac, and all these people had a large impact on him. In 1743, he married Antoinette Champion. In 1749, he was sent to jail for lettres sur les aveugles. From the year 1751 to 1759, he published the first 7 volumes of the encyclopedia. And in between those years, the king bans it because during this time period, although they were moving away from the medieval ideals and where the higher officials only had power and they were trying to hide information from the public, they were still in a time period where this was happening. And for example, the higher officials weren't really happy of the public gaining knowledge because it was more difficult to manipulate them, and then people could use this power. They could use this knowledge as a power against them. He had a daughter later, and going back to the encyclopedia, he had already finished the first 7 volumes. Once he had already finished those, it was banned. However, although it was banned, they still found a way afterwards for it to be shared, which was also a reason why these changes in his theories took place only much later after his lifetime, because not only were most of his works found after he died, the ones that weren't found or were found during his life, they were actually banned because they were very controversial and the high officials didn't like it. Encyclopedia. So the encyclopedia during this time was a 20-volume work containing information on almost everything, and this was originally written by Diderot. It was created to inform and educate the public on political, social, cultural, and philosophical, I don't know how to say that, topics. The ideas were originally proposed to Diderot by Andre Le Breton as a project, and its first volume was officially published in 1751, and it was very advanced and